If this looks like a premium website animation, you'd probably guess it's built with JavaScript. But here's the surprise. This entire fluid background runs using only HTML, CSS, and a simple SVG Turbulence Filter. No canvas, no libraries, just clever CSS effects and one SVG trick. Let's build it step by step. Before we start the development, let me quickly explain how this SVG filter works. It has just two powerful parts. First, feTurbulence creates a fractal noise texture. Then, feDisplacementMap uses that noise to distort the original graphic. Finally, the scale value controls the distortion strength, creating this beautiful organic liquid effect. Let's start by creating a new project folder called Basic SVG Turbulence Organic Gallery. Inside it, create two files, index.html and style.css. We'll use the HTML file for the structure and the CSS file for all the styling and animations. Now, let's begin building the project. First, let's set up our HTML file. Start by creating the basic HTML5 structure. Set the language to English, then add the UTF-8 character encoding and the responsive viewport meta tag. Next, give the page a title, Basic SVG Turbulence Organic Gallery. Finally, link the style.css file. Now our project is ready, and we can start building the UI. Now, create a gallery wrapper container. Inside it, add 3 blob elements, blob cyan, blob purple, and blob coral. These blobs will create our animated organic background. Next, create the main content section. Add a tagline, a heading, a short description, and a call to action button. This content will stay above the animated background and complete the hero section. Now, add the SVG filter. First, create a filter with the ID organic noise. Then, use feTurbulence to generate a noise pattern. After that, use feDisplacementMap to distort the blobs. This filter gives our background a smooth organic liquid effect. Now let's start the CSS. Let's start with the basic styles. First, reset the default margin, padding, and set box sizing to border box. Then, give the body a dark background and set the font family. Finally, center the content using Flexbox. Make it full screen, hide the overflow, and set the text color to white. Now, style the gallery wrapper. Make it cover the entire screen using absolute positioning with full width and height. Set a dark background and place it behind the content using Z-index. Finally, apply the blur, contrast, and the organic noise SVG filter. This creates the smooth liquid effect for our background. Now, let's style the blobs. First, set the position to absolute so we can place them anywhere on the screen. Next, use border radius, 50% to make them circular. Then, apply mix blend mode, screen so the colors blend together when they overlap. Finally, use will change to improve the animation performance before the blobs start moving. Now, let's create the first blob. Set its width and height to 400 pixels, then position it near the top left corner. Next, add a cyan radial gradient to create a soft glowing look. Apply a box shadow to give it more depth and a liquid feel. Finally, add the animation so the blob moves smoothly across the screen. Next, create the purple blob. Set its width and height to 450 pixels, then place it near the bottom right corner. Add a purple radial gradient to create a soft glowing effect. Next, apply a box shadow to make the blob look deeper and more realistic. Finally, add a smooth animation with a longer duration so it moves at a different speed from the first blob. This makes the overall animation feel more natural. Now, create the coral blob. Set its size to 300 pixels and place it near the center of the screen. Add a coral radial gradient to give it a soft glow. Then, apply a box shadow to add more depth and make it look like a liquid shape. Finally, use the same animation with a shorter duration and reverse direction. This adds more movement and makes the background feel more dynamic. Now, let's create the first animation. At the start, the blob keeps its normal size and shape. In the middle, it moves, grows slightly, and changes its border radius. At the end, it moves to a new position, becomes a little smaller, and changes its shape again. This makes the blob look like a smooth, organic liquid instead of a perfect circle. Now, let's create the second animation. This one starts slightly smaller than the first blob. As it moves, it changes its position, grows a little bigger, and smoothly changes its shape. Using a different animation makes each blob move in its own way. creating a more natural and dynamic liquid effect. Let's take a closer look at this SVG filter. At first, it may look like just a few lines of code, but it's the core of our liquid effect. feTurbulence creates a procedural noise pattern, and feDisplacementMap uses that noise to distort the blobs. Without this SVG filter, the blobs would stay smooth and static. With it, they'd become organic, fluid, and much more natural. Now, style the content section. Set its position to relative and use a higher z-index so it stays above the animated background. Center the text, add a maximum width for better readability, and apply some padding. Finally, disable pointer events for this container. Now, style the tagline. Set a small font size and make all the letters uppercase. Add some letter spacing for a clean look, then apply a cyan color and a bold font weight. Finally, add some bottom margin so it has space below the heading. Now, style the main heading. Increase the font size and make it extra bold so it stands out. Adjust the letter spacing and line height for a cleaner look. Then, add a white to gray gradient and clip it to the text. This creates a smooth premium text effect for the title. Now, style the paragraph. Set a comfortable font size and use a light gray color for better readability. Add some line height to improve the spacing, and finish with the bottom margin before the button. Finally, style the call to action button. Add some padding to make it larger and easier to click. Use a transparent background with a soft border for a modern look. Set the text color to white, make it semi-bold, and round the corners. Then, add a smooth transition for the hover effect. On hover, change the background to white, switch the text to dark, add a soft glow, and move the button slightly upward. This gives the button a clean and interactive feel. And that's it! Our SVG Turbulence Organic Gallery is now complete. We built everything using only HTML, CSS, and a simple SVG filter. Feel free to change the colors, blob sizes, and animation values to create your own unique design. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.